Next video. In today's video I will show you how to use Jetpack Compose with Flutter. Now I know a lot of people might be saying that why would you want to use Jetpack Compose with Flutter. So if you don't know, Jetpack Compose is a UI toolkit for native Android application. It is similar to Flutter, and the reason I want to use Jetpack Compose is because, so I will give you an example of Swift UI. So if you don't know, last year Apple launched a Swift UI charts. So if I want to integrate like awesome charts in my application, I don't have to use third party dependency in my pubspec.yaml. Of course, even without using third party dependency, you can do beautiful charts inside Flutter itself. I think that is possible using Canvas Painter. I'm not really sure, but I'm not that knowledgeable or intelligent to do this kind of complex UI inside Flutter by myself. So if there is something which is already available by Apple or Google, as for example I'm giving charts, why would I want to use a third party library? So if I use something from Apple itself, there will be lesser bugs, there will be more stability and better UI, I guess. So yeah, this is an example which I'm trying to give you guys. But similarly, maybe in future Jetpack Compose might have something similar like charts or something else, something complex UI which I want to implement in my application. Maybe augmented reality, something like, of course, AI augmented reality uses something like AR core something, and maybe in future Jetpack Compose might help us with that. Maybe it will reduce all the code which you have to write. Of course, augmented reality won't be possible with Flutter. You will have to write native code or use a third party dependency. So like, I don't want to waste more time, but I hope you guys are trying to get what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I will just get started. So I have created a Flutter application. Inside main.dart I have created my homepage widget, and I have created a stateless widget, and here you can see I have created my compose view widget, and this is the file which I have created. And of course, Jetpack Compose is only for Android, so it won't work for iOS. But for iOS I have just created a UI kit view. Nothing will really happen, it might even crash for iOS, so don't try running it for iOS. I also already have a video on Swift UI integrating with Flutter, so if you are curious, go check that out. But for Android you have to write this Android view, and view type is my compose view, so whatever string you declare over here has to be defined on the native side as well. And this is boilerplate code which I have just copied from the documentation. Now the next thing what you have to do is that you have to open this main Android folder inside Android Studio. So open that, and what I did was I just right click on it, create new, go to activity, go to gallery, and select this empty activity. So you should see this compose logo, empty activity of this compose logo. So if you don't see this, maybe you're using old version of Android Studio, so upgrade it and just click on next and create this activity. I already have this activity, I already had it active, had that activity like main activity 2. uh, Once that file is created, what it does is that it automatically do all those build or Gradle changes. Like, it will automatically add all the dependencies for Jetpack Compose in your project, so you don't have to manually add it. And once the Gradle syncing is finished, you can delete that main activity 2 or whatever file name is created. So here I will show you. Before that, here I am registering our native view, so you can see I am using the same string. Next, also one more thing is, you have to uh, update min HDK version to 23 at least. I think it is 21, but just to be on safer side I have incremented to 23. Then do a Gradle sync, and then do right click, new activity, gallery, compose activity. I think otherwise you won't see that compose activity option. Okay, empty activity option, sorry. So first change the min HDK version to 23, then you can create that activity. Once Gradle sync is finished, you can delete that activity, but I will show you what exactly it does. So here you can see all these things are added by compose activity itself. Okay, now I also added this extra dependencies. I'm not sure which ones are exactly required, I don't think constraint layout is required. Am I using constraint layout? Okay, I'm using constraint layout, but here you can use linear layout as well, that is fine. But I think these all dependencies are required. I just copy pasted this dependency from a native Android application which had compose as the default project, empty compose activity. Okay, so I just copied it just to be on the safer side. Also, I'm using Kotlin version 1.8.0, so you have to change this. And once you change it, you have to come over here to Kotlin compiler extension. This is also added. These two are also added once you create a compose activity, and change this version to 1.4.0. So make sure you have all these dependencies as well as all these things. I think behind the scenes it does add few more things as well, this adding a compose activity, but I will just show you. Okay, now once you have done this, I have just created my compose text.kt, and here you can see this is a composable which I have created, just a normal text component, and I am doing hello from compose and doing some styling to it. Next, I have created my compose view dot. Before that, I will show you my compose view factory. So this is boilerplate code which I have just copy pasted from docs, and here we are referencing our my compose view. So this my compose view has this my compose text, as well as I have also integrated a XML text view, just to show you guys that it is possible to mix and match. Like you can have an XML layout as well as a compose layout inside the same screen. So here you can see I'm just taking constraint layout, but you can use linear layout as well. And this text view is from XML layout, and this compose view is from so this compose view will help us to render this my compose text. Okay, so I'm just in get view, I'm returning constraint layout, I'm creating a constraint layout object, text view object, a compose view object, as well as layout params, and I'm doing constraint layout dot layout params equal to layout params, then defining a constraint set. Then we are defining the text views id, compose views id, and adding both to our constraint layout. Then inside the XML text view, I'm defining a text of hello from XML, setting a text size, setting a text color, and then adding some constraints to this text view, and then applying those constraints. Then I have defined this my compose view dot set content as my compose text. So here you can see that I'm referencing that my compose text which we have defined over here. Okay, so you can just play around with it. Yeah, I think I should have applied this constraints to this compose view as well, but any which ways it renders perfectly fine. You can play around with this constraint, how do you want to lay out this constraint set. And another important thing is, inside your main activity you have to change this to flutter fragment activity. So I have asked this question on Stack Overflow as well as on Reddit, but a lot of people made fun of me, like saying that why are you using compose with flutter inside flutter. Like, I can understand their point, but the final thing which was which was not allowing me to render compose inside flutter was that I forgot to change this. So change this as well. So yeah, I think that's it. Inside Android manifest, I don't think we have to add anything. Yeah, one more thing inside Android manifest, just check this thing. I think once I created this main activity of compose, this thing got messed up a little. So just check this as well. And if you see an main activity 2 over here or somewhere over here, delete it, because once you delete this main activity 2, you have to delete it from android manifest.xml as well. Okay, so here you can see my Android manifest. Here you can see we have this main activity which is the original activity. If you create one more activity, that gets registered inside Android manifest as well. So yeah, just be careful with that. I think that should be it. Thank you for watching. Bye.